What's up, everyone? I'm Thorn coming to you from Computex 2024 in Taipei, Taiwan. Let's go, nerds! Okay, we're here at the Gigabyte booth on the floor, and it is pandemonium because this is the day that is open to the public, so everybody's everywhere. Please bear with me. Now, what I'm interested in, what I'm generally enthusiastic about with Gigabyte is their motherboards, because they generally will do things that other motherboard manufacturers will not do. And you'll notice that along this wall, there is plenty of both black and white motherboards. And when they go for a white motherboard now, it is white PCB. And they've been going the extra mile with these. Even the connectors on a lot of these are gonna be white. Some of the plastics, things like that. DIMM slots on some of them are gonna be white, like here on the Aero G. Now, what we're looking at in this whole section, they're cheekily calling it Next Gen Z. And what we know that means is that is the Z890 motherboards. They can't call it that. Intel doesn't want them to do that, so they say Next Gen Z. But if you look really closely at the socket, it says LGA 1800XX. We know what's going on. All I have a question for you, Intel. Why 1851? Was that one pin really that necessary? 1850 just sounds way better, but whatever. Anyways, now looking at these, they have started to make a lot of really nice quality of life features ubiquitous. You're gonna see quick releases for GPUs. You're gonna see toolless removal of M.2 heat sinks and toolless M.2 installation. And this is not just on their high end, this is going to the whole product lineup. There, you got it, yep, there you go. The funny thing here is the I.O. shields are generic. And as you might know, the I.O. shield is where you're gonna see labeling for a lot of the ports, like what kind of standard each USB port is, the transfer speeds of USB Type-C ports, the actual connectivity for your Ethernet ports. That is missing here, but we can infer quite a bit because if you look on the motherboard, silk screened on there, you'll see Thunderbolt silk screened onto the board. And in these very, very sparse descriptions here, we can glean a few facts, like say this Next Gen Z Aorus Pro Ice is gonna have digital twin 16 plus 1 plus 2 phases VRM, that easy latch I was showing you for M.2 heat sinks and screwless design. And this is gonna have 5 gigabit networking on Ethernet and Wi-Fi 7. And really interesting here, and what we've been seeing, not just from Gigabyte, but this is their solution, quick connect and disconnect for the Wi-Fi antenna, which is awesome. And of course, Wi-Fi 7 becoming more ubiquitous. But the fun thing here is that they'd simply put tape over some of the silk screening. And this is the kind of thing that you will see at Computex because this is bleeding edge technology, bleeding edge stuff. And you might chalk it up to silliness, that's fine. But it's how it goes. Now, some of the quality of life features that I've really enjoyed from some of their newer motherboards are like this right here. You're gonna see an onboard HDMI internally for sensor panels or displays for your screen mods. Now, if we move down here, this is their sort of big chonker right here, their quote-unquote EATX. This is the Next Gen Z Aorus Tachyon Ice. You're gonna see this is set up for XOC, or just extreme overclocking with just 2 DIMMs for RAM. It's still dual channel, of course, but really close to the socket. And instead of having that HDMI on there, they went with 40 gigabit per second USB Type-C, or USB 4, essentially. And then you have tons of places where you can connect leads for sensors. You have tons of buttons here, toggles, and of course your buttons here as well for powering, resetting, and different settings. That is for extreme overclocking. So don't expect this to be something you would want for your gaming PC so that you can, play your, Call of Duty or whatever. That's not quite what this is for. This is for, or you go on LN2, this is probably the one for you. I didn't mean to rhyme that. Now, of course, when you look at this Aorus Pro Ice, you can pretty much infer that the one right above it, the Aorus Master, is going to be very similar. The I.O. is a bit different though, but these are going to probably be in a similar price bracket. That's just me guessing on that. But you'll notice they're putting large heat sinks here with the toolless design, and most of these motherboards, I am overjoyed to see, have 7-segment displays so that you can actually get error codes that are really, really useful. And we're not just talking about the Tachyon Ice here or the Aorus Master. but you're seeing some of these on some of the mid-range boards as well, which we want to see 7-segment displays on all motherboards. Why not? I mean, yes, the LEDs can be helpful, but having a code for like to give to a technician at an SI over the phone when you're trying to get tech support can be really helpful. But you're seeing it all the way down here to the Aorus Elite Wi-Fi 7. We're seeing Wi-Fi 7 on everything, and it's just really, really nice to see. And of course, your USB Type-C. This one does state in the sales training here that that one is Thunderbolt. Now, which version of Thunderbolt? We don't know. It does say 20 gig right here, but this Thunderbolt may be indicating something on the rear I/O for the USB Type-C port that is back here instead. It's just, they got to put it somewhere, essentially. So it goes all the way to here. That's where you're going to see the newer Intel boards, all 9 of these boards, including this ITX board right here, these MATX here. So yes, they're bringing the ICE look to the MATX as well. Not so much to the ITX as far as I can tell, but there is some really tightly packed, that's the thing about ITX, everything is very tightly packed here. Tightly packed technology here, and but looks like there are heat pipes shared from your VRM cooling all the way up here to power as well, and then to your SSD cooling right here as well. Though this does not look toolless, it actually kind of is, though I am hesitant to remove that one. There's another latch there, like one of those, whatever they call them. I think Asus calls them Q latches, whatever. I am sorely tempted to remove these silly the silly socket covers here, but I'm not going to do that. I would feel a bit bad, but you can see right here the tape over some of the silk screening. They didn't do what we were seeing at some other booths where you have a piece of plexiglass sort of haphazardly covering it. You can actually go in there. Let me find one. There's one that has it pretty obvious. You can see it right there. It's like Mega Man in the year 20XX. Well, this is the motherboard chipset 18XX, or socket 18XX, I should say. Okay, so let's move on though, because now we can take a look at their AMD motherboards right down this way. Now, there are fewer AMD motherboards here, but we are seeing a mixture of 600 series and 800 series. Now, though we didn't see any X870E at when we're looking at the MSI booth, here we do see X870E motherboards, meaning just like X670E, it's basically taking the X670 chipset and doubling it. You get 2 of those, so you know, double the connectivity and all that stuff. So here we have the big chonkers here. We have the X870E Aorus Extreme. This thing's going to be massive, quote unquote EATX. And of course, you are seeing the HDMI on board there for internal screens, which are, again, becoming really popular. You do have toolless heatsink covers for the triple, looks like triple Gen 5 M.2. Actually, these two look like Gen 5. This one looks like Gen 4. And of course, here's probably going to be Gen 5 as well, with AMD providing, as far as I know, more Gen 5 PCIe lanes. I don't know what's going to happen with the 800 series boards from Intel with Z870, what they're going to be doing and what they're going to have with the new Core Ultra CPUs, how many PCIe Gen 5 lanes there are going to be, but hopefully it's going to be a step up from what we had with 12th to 14th gen CPUs. And of course, we have the Aorus Pro Ice, the Aorus Stealth Ice. When looking at these before, these may be new versions. This is the 800 series. Looking at the 600 series, this is even more whited out with your DIMM slots for RAM, all of the plastic pieces you can possibly get here, 7-segment display. So if you're looking for an ultimate white build, Gigabyte is coming in strong with that. And of course, we also have the lower priced option with the B650E, but check this out. This is a white PCB, but you can almost barely tell because they've armored up this whole thing. This one right here, interestingly, why are they able to put all this armor here? There's no connectors on the front.
Bloody magical.
So you've seen BTF, you've seen Project Zero. Well, this could be a callback to Project Stealth, which is why it is the Aorus Stealth Ice. So that is what is new with this one. Everything's facing towards the back. And what I'm curious about is how this is going to be addressed with the fact that many case manufacturers have been working with, and they've been working with BTF and with Project Zero. Where does this factor in? Did Gigabyte follow one or the other when it comes to the standards? Because Project Stealth was theirs. They were first to market with it. So will this fit with BTF and Project Zero compatible cases? We will have to wait to find out. Now, you might be wondering if you can still do a quick removal of this for accessing your M.2 drives. And I will tell you, yes, you absolutely can do that. This does have fewer, of course, and they're really extreme boards here. So you have two M.2 sockets right there, and of course the one under here. But you look at that, still white and gray, really buying into that aesthetic, and I could not be happier to see that, because truth be told, this has been making waves in motherboard manufacturing, because we were walking through the ASRock booth and we saw white PCBs on their white aesthetic motherboards. So it's really, really nice to see that. They really pushed it, and it did pay off for us, the people who like white builds. And you'd be surprised, to be clear, when we're doing our PC matchmaking, I ask whether someone wants a white or a black build as one of the questions, and it's honestly about 35 to 40% have said that they want a white build. It's still in the meta for PC builds, for PC aesthetics, to get a white build. So they're doing the right thing here, I think. Now, looking at the I/O on these, even the B650E, you're coming in with 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 USB Type A ports, with 4 of them being USB 2.0 for your mice, keyboards, headsets, things like that are slower throughput. They don't need the high bandwidth. 5 of them being USB 3.2 Gen 1, and then 2 of them being 10 gigabit USB Type A. And then, of course, you have your USB Type C with DisplayPort, by the way, and a 2.5 gig Ethernet connection with, it looks like probably Wi-Fi 6E, because it doesn't say Wi-Fi 7. If it doesn't say Wi-Fi 7, it's probably 6E. That's the way. But it does have the new connector, as you saw there, that new quick connector, which, if any of you have had to connect those little tiny screws for an extended Wi-Fi antenna, it is a big pain in the butt. So I'm happy to see that. Of course, we have here ARS Master. There's your ARS Extreme. And then this is a TRX 50 here for your Threadripper as well. So they have a nice option here for a Threadripper board, it looks like, with lots of with 4 total X16 slots, with so many PCIe channels available with Threadripper. These could all very well be X16 throughput as well. So looking at this, we have 16 plus 8 plus 4 phases, digital VRM, and you have 4 PCIe 5.0 X16 slots for multi-GPU, and 4 PCIe 5.0 by 4 M.2 slots. You're talking about, this is, there's no holds barred on this. They went all out. Now you have the Aorus Elite here down here. This one's gonna be in basically very much like the Aorus Stealth Ice when it comes to the I/O it has. It might be slightly different, but generally in a similar price bracket. And I'll tell you right now, the B650E, this one right here, this seems like a slightly newer version of it, but the current one was about $249 with tons of I/O, amazing aesthetics, and also what I'm very interested in finding out. Now, another thing that, of course, Gigabyte has on display here are their GPUs. And you'll notice, of course, you're gonna have your full lineup with the Eagle, the Arrow, Aorus, the whole lineup. Now, this one here is interesting, because although I've been typically kind of avoiding the AI stuff, this AI top, this is kind of how they're branding their AI stuff. This is a 4070 Ti Super, and it is a very small card for being a 4070 Ti Super, with a blower fan on it, and this looks like more of an enterprise product. And of course, this right here is also really exciting. I like this for ultra small form factor. Look at this 4060. It is absolutely adorable. And you can use this with half height slots or full height PCIe slots. You still have 4 outputs with 2 HDMI, 2 DisplayPort, and it is just the cutest thing I have ever. Deb, what do you think about that?
It's very, very cute.
Absolutely.
So it's, yeah.
Now, this 4070 Super Eagle OC 12 gig right here is also something I'm interested in. And the reason for that is it's just barely over 2 slots. It's like 2.3, 2.4 slots, and not a giant heavy card for being a 4070 Super, 12 gigs VRAM, all of that good stuff. This thing has got a pretty nice compact size to it, just like the Eagle underneath it right here with the 4070 Eagle. This was the 4070, there's the Super. I'm curious if they have the gray gunmetal colored 4070 Super Eagle version, but I don't see that here. And another pretty small card with the 4060 Ti WindForce OC. This is more for the small form factor guys out there, but of course we know a lot of SFF cases now fit pretty big GPUs. So whether you need this or not, up to you. Whether you're gonna put in this absolutely massive 4080 Super, sure, you might have a case that fits that. But for those of you who need smaller GPUs, There you go. And if you're getting yourself one of those white motherboards, particularly the Aero one, the Aero 4080 Super, the Aero OC right here, would probably be of interest to you. Now, however, I am curious to see how Gigabyte is going to handle the apparent issues with PCBs cracking. So if you're going to be buying any large GPUs, we're going to want to see how they handle that first before you buy into that. There are plenty, there's plenty of options when it comes to GPUs out there. And just keep that in mind. Make sure to keep an eye on things like that. Whenever you're going to be making such a large investment, that there aren't known issues that could affect you. Anyway, that's just some quick coverage of the Gigabyte booth here. Thank you guys so much for coming along for the ride. I just looked at one wall. This place is actually massive, but this is what I know matters to you. Anyway, keep an eye out for more content coming to you from us here at Computex 2024. Take care.